To Mansfield. We're about actually 5 minutes from being there. So all my research I kind of separated into 8 different subcategories. So we have history, we have Scofield. Scofield was the architect of the Ohio State Reformatory. We have the cell blocks. We have a little bit of some fun facts with Shawshank Redemption, the film. It was actually filmed there, so that'll be kind of cool to see all the scenes and where they filmed. And there's also a hat that was actually worn by Morgan Freeman in the film, so I'm really excited to see that. I have researched information of the inmates as well as punishments that were given to them for certain things. Murders, suicides, and accidents that occurred at the Ohio State Reformatory, as well as hauntings and ghost stories. So we are just about to be there. So it's about 3 miles to the left, so we will be there soon. And it should be a fun time. Alright guys, so we are at the Ohio State Reformatory, finally. There's a lot of history about this place. I'm going to do a few voiceovers, so hopefully you guys don't mind that because I can't remember everything that I researched. I'm pretty sure this gate was original to the property. There's also a gate, it might be on the other side. There is a original gate that was built during the time that the reformatory first opened. If we can find it, I will show you. It's really cool. It has a stone structure around it, and it's a pretty heavy gate. It was actually in, if I'm not mistaken, the Shawshank Redemption film. So right here behind me, this is the entrance to the reformatory. So I'm going to be referring to my notes. Hopefully you guys don't mind. But in 1896, the reformatory was first opened, and in 1988, it was placed on the National Registry for Historic Places. It was originally built for the rehabilitation of young male offenders through hard work and education, and it provided its inmates the opportunity to learn trade as it had its own working farm as well as power plant. One of their slogans was Ohio's University for Another Chance. Upon its first opening, it was not finished completely, and its first inmates moved into the reformatory. They were tasked with the job of finishing its renovations. In the mid-20th century, attitude towards crime became more strict, and the reformatory became a maximum security facility. Finally, in 1990, the facility closed its doors for good due to financial problems and unbearable conditions of its inmates, unfortunately, which is kind of sad. The reformatory, after it closed its doors, was left to deteriorate. However, the new owners of this establishment have the first floor almost completely renovated. The top floors, however, you can only do renovations for this entire building so fast. So the top floors are still left in their original condition. Now, I'm not sure exactly where it is. It must be on the other side, but there's actually a working prison that you can't film out the windows or take photographs of, but you can see it in person.
I think it should be that way, just straight past those woods.
Yeah, it might be right there actually.
I think it's right past those woods, yeah.
See it on camera here.
Based off of the map and like stuff from what I remember.
There's the gate. You want to get the gate? And if you guys can see right over there, we'll go over to it in a second. That's the gate I was talking about.
Spooky!
The land that the Ohio State Reformatory actually sits on actually used to be a Civil War Union training camp named Camp Bartley. As we go inside, you'll see different items that were actually made by the inmates during their stay here, as well as items that the inmates would use in their everyday life when they called this home, as well as the electric chair that claimed many of the lives that were considered to be too far gone. It's so cold out here, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I'm like over here like shivering. I'm like, I hope I'm not shaking it, but...
So this is the original gate I was talking about. It's just the original gate with newly paved pavement all around. It is huge. Ryan, if you want to walk next to it to show how big it is. It is absolutely massive.
The Eric Andre, let me in!
So I'm actually not sure if this... You literally look terrified. I'm not sure if this was the entrance or a guard entrance or what this gate was. The only thing I do know, obviously you can see the matching stone. It was original to the property.
Bolted shut.
Yeah, I imagine. It's probably rusted shut. This actually over here is the west wing, which is made out of stone, concrete, and steel. This one was 5 tiers high. And then obviously over there is the more impressive side, which was the east side. But the west side is the side that inmates would want to be at, and we'll get into that when we get inside. And here is a porta potty that is not original to the property.
It's also where they first made plastic.
Okay. So this is where you first come in. Administration. Guess that's for staff only. And I guess the first thing we come to is the West Administrative Wing. Apparently I can't talk. Look at these floors.
That's cool.
And all the windows are barred.
Oh, there are restrooms in here. Cool.
Oh, there's the West Wing. Says this piece was made by an inmate from the Ohio Penitentiary. Toy train was made by an inmate at the Ohio State Reformatory. And the clock was made by an inmate also of the Reformatory. I don't know if any of you are interested in reading this, but just in case you are, I'll pan down. So right here, as I said before, is the electric chair. Says the hood or mask was placed over the face of the condemned person just prior to electrocution.
Yeah, you would think they would give the mask to the executioner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is where they would call it to give the signal that it was okay to electrify.
Exactly.
So this is what they would place over top of your head prior or before the execution. Oh, this is an actual typewriter used by one of the inmates. So this whole place was designed by Levi T. Scofield, and he envisioned a combination of chateau-esque architecture which was a European style characterized by steep roofs and stone veneers, and Romanesque architecture characterized by its semicircles and Gothic features. This was quoted as half German castle and half Gothic church. So in this desk you can actually see Levi's writing. So cool. And there's Levi. Toothbrush actually has a blade on it.
And this is where Doc gives you a fresh fade.
So it looks like you could turn in one of these tickets for 5 cents for a haircut. So this looks like one of the shirts that the inmates would wear when they came to the reformatory. Unclaimed personal inmate belongings were taken when an inmate was first brought to a prison. Dang. Old-timey salt and pepper shakers. That's insane. So this was the actual furniture and piano of the Glock family. I forget exactly how to say their name. And their TV. Ryan said this actually doesn't work. There's an LED screen behind it.
That's so cool.
But yeah, it's still really cool. And then this was their family picture. So this was Helen, which we will go up to her bathroom and I'll tell you a little bit more about her. But they have a pretty sad story. However, Arthur was very, very respected by both guards and inmates. It's a really pretty chair. So cool that this is like their actual furniture. And this must have been Helen's. This actually was not Arthur's office.
I think this is the warden from the film.
It is.
Yes.
And here, cameraman was actually sitting right here, if you guys remember the scene in the movie. was in the movie, if you remember. And this was the actual paper.
And the tin. The tin's pretty important.
Oh yeah, the tin. So cool to see it. Box set red, flayed by Morgan Freeman, uncovered from the lone oak tree.
And this is the compass that he used to get to that oak tree.
This is the hat that I was talking about that Morgan Freeman wore during filming of the Shawshank Redemption. There's him in it. He's so cute. Alright guys, you recognize that? For any of you Shawshank Redemption fans? So I think these were props. Yep, these were all props that was used in the movie. So if I'm not mistaken, this was one of the real doorknobs to the reformatory, and this is a recreation of those doorknobs from the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm gonna stop you guys right here for just a quick sec. Future Shay here. So sorry for this audio you were about to hear. I tried to fix it and do everything I can for it in editing. It sounds a bit better, but it's still a little rough. So it doesn't last too long, and I put in subtitles to make it easier to read or understand what I'm saying. So enjoy. So the Ohio State Reformatory is also known as Shawshank Prison because of the beloved Shawshank Redemption film that was filmed here. I have a couple fun facts for you. So fun fact number one, none of the scenes featuring prison cells were filmed in Ohio State Reformatory. Director Frank Darabont wanted 2 rows of prison cells facing one another, which the Ohio State Reformatory did not have. They only have 1 cell row facing just one way. So they actually filmed that in a warehouse in an entirely different location. Fun fact number 2, in the shower scene, there was no running water in the shower room at that time, so a fire truck, Mansfield Fire Department, came in and ran a hose through the 2nd story window, connected it to the shower so that they had running water, and then they used dry ice, so when the water hit the drains, it looked like the showers were actually steaming. They filmed that all in one take because it was so unbearable for the actors. And once the Shawshank Redemption film was finished, this building was actually scheduled for demolition, but instead it was just kind of left to the elements to deteriorate. So this microphone here was actually the real microphone used in the film. And then this is a replica. This isn't actually the actual record player. But this microphone is. It's kind of cool if you sit here because it kind of feels like you're in the movie. I love how they did this.
I was looking like it seemed like the last summer.
Yeah. So this door here was actually created by the movie production crew, and it was used to replicate a door that prisoners would come to for solitary confinement. Also remember from the film, this office was used a lot. It was Warden Norton. That's really cool. I want to sit in the chair.
It was a little too loud to be menacing.
Going up to the 3rd floor now. I love this. Look how beautiful this staircase is. This place is insane. Oh, okay, here's where it starts getting a little spookier. So I guess the first and the second floor have renovations done. And now as we go up more, you'll see some paint chipping off the walls and the ceilings. The floor's a little shaky, a little creaky. But as you can see through here, they are doing renovations. Now, it might not look like much, but this paint, oops, don't tell anyone I did that. But there's like 4 layers of it, and you can even see the original concrete. That's so cool. That's where we came in. A good angle of the architecture that I was talking about earlier. Steep roofs, the kind of cylindrical, semicircle archways or towers. So if you can see here, this is what I was talking about. Most paranormally active area in the administration ring. So this room is said to be the most paranormal room in the entire building. And this chair right here is said to actually be haunted. Now the ghost or the inmate that owned this chair, it said that he doesn't like it to be moved. It said that at night you can hear it scraping against the floor. So it said if you move this chair towards the middle of the room or anywhere in this room, he will always move it back to this little creepy corner area behind the door. I'm not going to move it just in case it is a real story. I just want to be respectful, but I'm going to ruin that real quick because he doesn't like you sitting in the chair either. It said that you can get scratched or, grabbed behind the shoulders if you sit. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm going to sit in the chair. I'm sorry if you're in here.
How do you feel?
It's a very nice chair though. That's why I like it so much. It's very comfy. I kind of feel eerie, honestly. Like, this is a really weird room. Look at the ceilings and everything.
Yeah, falling apart. You got metal wiring to keep the ceiling from falling through.
We'll see if I get scratched or anything. How do you feel?
Alright, I think I'm gonna move it.
Okay.
Alright.
We'll see if it moves and it comes back. I'm not gonna be the one to do that though. Oh, can you not move it? Oh, that was kind of convincing. So here's the quote I was talking about. Ohio's University of Another Chance. While incarcerated, inmates were encouraged to gain an education. So I guess this is where they got edumacated.
Dang, only one person got a desk.
Oh, this might have been the light we saw from outside.
Oh, it definitely was, yeah.
So if you can see almost right at my feet, there is an axe made out of light. The reformatory was so symmetrical that the 4 rooms that are right there, as you can see by the points in the X, make a perfect X from the doorways. So this was the bedroom, Brooke's bedroom from the movie. These are some spooky steps. So I don't know what this room is used for, probably a closet or something, but it's actually right next to the steps of the chapel. It's so creepy in here. Here's another door over here. Right underneath the steps. It's a creepy ladder. Yeah, it's like creepy bathroom.
Oh, I've been looking for a bathroom.
Shine your here.
Yep. Oh, hey, look, that goes outside. Yeah, perfect there.
Oh, you can see outside. This just looks like a storage area or something.
It smells like paint, don't eat it.
Yeah. Okay, to the chapel. So these are actually the stairs to the guard tower. This has some kind of spooky stories with it. It's said that this is closed off now, as you can see, so you can't go up there anymore, unfortunately. But it's saying you get violently shoved, grabbed, there's disembodied voices and whispers that can be heard through the stairwell. So this was the escape attempt. We're actually in the chapel right now. Ryan's dancing. So this kind of comes with a cool story. So there's actually a movable cabinet that was once here, and inmates tried to just day by day chisel away at the wall to get out. I don't know how they thought they were going to do that, but after they were found out, more time was added to their sentence, and no inmates were left alone in the chapel afterward. This chapel is massive. So this is the elevator. There was once a balcony to the chapel. I'm pretty sure, yes. So if you see the wall right up there, you can see that there's once a balcony, and that's where this elevator used to lead to. There's also one right there. By one of these pillars, Ryan found a random bird skull.
Okay. Scavenger hunt points?
Yes, you win all the prizes. This is the podium the preacher would be at. So 1,900 inmates could actually fit inside this chapel at one time, and this chapel is said to be haunted because guards are said to have tortured inmates in this chapel. It's also said that if you take pictures in this chapel, that you'll catch some orbs here. So this is a very active area if you guys are interested in taking pictures and finding orbs or just seeing what you can see. Now we're gonna go to the, I guess your guys' right, to the cell blocks. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. What would you do if I got my head stuck in here?
I'll just leave you here. Honestly. Call a worker and be like, some random girl I don't know is stuck in the cell bars. Sorry. You guys should really figure that out. I'm leaving.
A long way down. So here's one of the cells. This is what this looks like. Not very much space. What the heck? That just turned off. Okay, so currently we're in the east cell block. We're in one of the cells. That light just turned off again. So the east cell block is the largest known structure of its kind. It is entirely made up of steel, and it's 6 tiers high. I think we're on the top tier, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because the ceiling's right there. This is so... Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. I mean, boo.
Really just see you too.
You knew we were back here. I just scared the shit out of someone.
We should work here.
I know. We're naturals. The east cell block was made between the years of 1908 and 1910. It holds 600 cells. It's 2 per cell, as you can see, and it will hold up to 1,200 inmates. We had to move because there was a guided tour coming and it was really loud. But on the first floor of the east cell block, it said that shadow people could be seen. And also on the east cell block, it's said to be haunted because inmates from all over the cells, all different points, even opposite ends of the reformatory, were saying that they were scared. They were telling guards that they were scared to be sleeping in their cell at night. And they wanted the guards to watch over them because they felt like there was some kind of invisible hands tucking them in at night.
Hey, you have to use the bathroom before we go?
Yeah, just turn off the camera.
No, okay.
So there is a lot of information on inmates of the prison. So inmates were typically given 18 months here to reform. If there was any progress made, they'd be let go. If there was no progress made or it wasn't in the best interest of the inmate decided by the staff, another 18 months would be given, and so on. The reformatory housed 155,000 inmates, and it's almost 100 years of operation. There was a lot of punishments as well. So some of the punishments are a little bit more cruel in my opinion than others, but many punishments were used for inmates refusing to follow rules and laws, including embarrassment tactics, which is the little things, what are they called? The little stocks where you put your head in and your arms in, and it was like a public embarrassment. And whipping and lashes was actually also a part of punishments. So inmates would get 59 lashes for robbery or for stealing, and 100 lashes for any kind of second offense. Hangings were also carried out in 1885 at the Ohio Penitentiary, and the total hangings that occurred were 28. In 1897, the electric chair was installed in the penitentiary, and hangings ceased as the electric chair was considered to be more humane. William Huss was the first candidate for the electric chair, and that occurred on April 21st of 1897. Over the next 66 years, 312 men and 3 women were executed via the chair, and the last one was on March 15th of 1963. Solitary confinement was another way of punishment for inmates who refused to recognize the rules of the reformatory. These inmates were either placed in total darkness or constant light for 24 hours a day. This time spent in solitary confinement was considered dead time and did not count towards time served. The steel doors of these rooms were built in the 1970s. So another form of punishment that was used was called 8 and 8. So a prisoner would spend 8 hours in between some kind of bars, just squished in between the bars, and they'd be locked up for 8 hours in between those bars and forced to stand. The next 8 hours would consist of them being forced to lie down on the prison cell floor. This process would continue until staff felt that the prisoner was in his right mind again or had learned his lesson. So it was just 8 hours standing up, 8 hours laying down, 8 hours standing up, 8 hours laying down, until staff felt that they were okay again. Eventually, this was deemed as cruel and unusual punishment, and that kind of punishment ceased. The chair has not moved. I guess I should say, huh?
But the day is still young.
Yeah. Ryan moved it to the center of the room because that's what you're supposed to do. I didn't get that on camera though, but it has not moved yet. All right, moving on. So there's the cell blocks we were just in. That's the east wing. Looks like some type of stage or something. So this is the family bedroom, and this room has a really nasty story to it. So Helen was actually right here. She was getting ready for church on a Sunday, and she reached for her jewelry box right into the closet and accidentally knocked over her husband's gun box, which had his loaded gun in it. It fell to the floor. It actually shot up into her, and she died in the hospital 3 days later from pneumonia from her gunshot. So she died right around this area. And if you can see, Helen loved flowers and rose scents. So because they came into this room, the staff after Helen died, she loved roses and it smelled always like roses in here. So the staff today make sure that this room always has rose scents, some flowers. I think these are fake, and then they have a little remembrance card for Helen. Her husband Arthur was said to be very highly respected from both the guards and the inmates, and he was said to really, really love his wife. And he declined pretty fast after his wife died, and he actually died in his office 9 years later. So this is actually labeled as the pink bathroom. It looks like they're doing renovations in it, so we can't actually go in it right now. But this was known as Helen's bathroom, and it always somehow smells like a rose scent. The staff today actually keep a rose in a vase labeled Helen to remember her by. It is said that through these hallways, because this is like the family apartment area, you can hear what sounds like whispers, and there's cold spots that are felt. And it's also said that by the staff members, that when they were closing down for the night, it's very frequent that they hear a man and a woman in conversation. So it could be Arthur and Helen. So you can see the pink floor, pink toilet. There used to be a countertop before they'd keep the rose. It looks like they're renovating it right now. So this is the central guard room. These cardboard cutouts keep making me think there's real people. It's freaking me out. The Central Guard Center was also used as a visitation center. This is like a little sneak peek of their Halloween haunt. So it may be a little hard to see, but this is the west cell block area. The cells are a little bit bigger, and how I know is I can see brick right there. And the east cell block is made completely of steel. Doesn't have any brick or stone or anything. But I don't think we're going to actually be able to go in the first floor of cells because they have a stupid haunted house. It's not stupid, it's probably really cool, but... So again, I know it's a little hard to see, but as you can see, the west cell block is made up of steel, brick, and concrete. This was made in 1886 to 1896, and it is 5 tiers high. So this cell block was actually for inmates called trustees who had earned the trust and the confidence of the staff members of the reformatory. And in the very end, I think it's right down there, some cells had room to fit 4 inmates, which were labeled the luxury quarters. And in these cells, the inmates of 4 could actually vote out the inmate that they didn't want anymore if they weren't getting along well enough to live together. Pretty cool. Here's the east side cell block from the outside. Okay, so last on our list, we have murders, suicides, and accidents, and I'm also going to be talking about some of the hauntings that we didn't see the sites of in the reformatory. So, 200 inmates and guards died in the reformatory from either disease or from violence. Urban Wilford, a 72-year-old guard in the 1920s, was shot by inmate Philip Orlock while trying to help his friend escape. Before the guards were able to pull Orlock off of Wilford, Wilford was already dead, and Orlock was sentenced to the electric chair and was electrocuted 1 year later. In 1932, Frank Hanger, a guard of the reformatory, saw inmates trying to escape. One of the inmates grabbed an iron bar and hit Hanger repeatedly in the head, while other inmates beat him with their fists until he died. Two of the inmates continued their escape and were caught after killing Hanger, and they were sentenced to the electric chair. All the rest of the inmates had Hanger's death added to their sentence. In 1957, a riot broke out with 120 inmates all going crazy at once. Each inmate was put in solitary confinement, 6 per cell, for a month straight, and mistakenly 2 of Mansfield's most dangerous and violent prisoners were paired up together. And 1 month later, after the guards opened the cell, they noticed there was only 5 men in the cell, and there was a decaying corpse underneath one of the beds. In 1960, James Lockhart, an inmate serving 15 years for assault with intent to kill, took his own life on February 6, 1960, by setting himself on fire with matches and lighter fluid. Visitors can still go into his cell where the incident happened today. Unfortunately, we were not able to find the cell because they have the haunted house going. In 1974, Larry Harmer, who was sentenced to 1 year for damaging property during a break-in, pulled the sheets off of his bed, tied one end to the towel rack and the other end around his neck, and hung himself. No one knows why he killed himself. However, rumors of another inmate at the prison Larry was scheduled to be transferred to was waiting for him, and Larry's fear overcame him. This is, however, not certain. No one really knows why Larry's suicide happened. It's just kind of a mystery today. All of that food looks so good. Look at the magnet we got. So lastly, I'm just going to go over a few more hauntings that happened. I wasn't able to get them all done in the reformatory because I wanted, when talking about the hauntings, to be in the exact spot where they happened. So some guests' statements include feeling cold gusts, feelings of being watched, getting pushed, getting scratched. Another reported being shoved down the steps and her arm was grabbed and twisted at a painful angle before being let go. And she said when she looked behind her, no one was there. The whole tour group was in front of them. There's also an elemental, or a buildup of intense energy. It's been seen appearing in some of the guests' photos. It looks like a bright red orb, basically, is how it appears in the photos. And it's known to cause feelings of fear and anger. This elemental is believed to be dangerous, as when it does appear, bad things happen or accidents happen. And 3 red orbs can also be sometimes seen with a smell of what's said to be strong decay right afterward. In 2006, during a guided tour, a visitor reported, as well as a guide, that they heard running footsteps. And when the guide said, hey, like there's no running, there was a slam door that just slammed shut on its own. In the reformatory's library, it said that things are seen to be moving around the room on their own. There's also said to be a woman's outline of a blur. You can just see her as a blur. And when you look in that direction, she's just gone. But it's said that when she was alive, because she's thought to be a nurse, when she's seen, it looks like a nurse that worked for the reformatory. And if you ask her why she's there, apparently she just says, I just simply like the library. There's also a place called the Hole. Prisoners would describe it as a prison in the prison because it was so bad. But there's, I guess, cold spots, feelings of nausea, breathing is foul, and extreme discomfort. On the 3rd floor, the middle admin, shadow figures, voices, feelings of being watched or said, and audible footsteps are apparently heard. On the east wing, the 1st floor, shadow people are rumored to be seen. And finally, in the basement, a 14-year-old boy, thought to be the son of a guard, has been seen. And when asked, why are you down here? How'd you get down here? He says, they beat me to death. That's all he says. No one knows why he got there, or why he's down there, or why he died there. But the boy is said to be nice. However, the ghost of a guard is also said to be seen. That is said to be malicious. In the infirmary, guests say that they felt depressed, dread, they feel kind of nauseous when entering or staying for too long. and cold spots are frequently felt here. According to paranormal investigators, electromagnetic readings are given off as well. So this road leading up to the prison, there is said to be a ghost of Phoebe Wise. She is said to have survived multiple robberies and also killed one of her stalkers, but it's said that she can be seen along the roads at dusk time, and if you get too close to her, like, she doesn't really say anything, but if you get too close to her, she'll just kind of disappear. No one really knows quite why she's on the road or why she has anything to do with the reformatory, but it said she only appears to people going toward the reformatory on the road. So I thought that was kind of interesting.